May 22nd, 2023, regular Wasilla City Council meeting is called to order. The time is 6 p.m. Before we begin, council, please put away cell phones. If you have personal business during the meeting, please move for a recess. If you are participating telephonically, please mute your phone unless you are speaking. Also, when speaking, please state your name for those streaming the meeting. As a reminder to all attendees, this meeting is being streamed live. The camera is located directly above the clock in the back of the council chambers. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Councilmember Graham?
Here.
Councilmember Johnson?
Here.
Councilmember Velock?
Here.
Councilmember Rubio?
Here.
You do have a quorum, Madam Mayor. Councilmember Sullivan, Leonard, and Brown are absent and excused unless there's objection from the body.
Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, and Stu, would you lead us?
Yes, ma'am.
Pledge allegiance. Let's do.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation,
Indivisible.
with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Just for the record, Madam Mayor, the reason I always hesitate is I always scan the audience to make sure everybody's had a chance to stand. So.
The first item of business is approval of the agenda. Are there changes to the agenda?
Madam Mayor,
Mr. Graham.
I'd like to move item 8.3.1, resolution serial 2320 to new business.
Are there any other changes? Is there an objection? The agenda is approved as amended. We are now at special orders of the day. I'll read the proclamation honoring Memorial Day. City of Wasilla Proclamation honoring Memorial Day. Whereas Memorial Day, originally called Decoration Day, was born from the Civil War and the desire to honor the fallen heroes who died in service to our nation. And whereas each year Memorial Day serves as a solemn reminder of the scourge of war and its bitter aftermath of sorrow. And whereas we are grateful for the sacrifices made by those who believed so deeply in what the United States of America could be, they were willing to give their lives to protect its promise. And whereas on Memorial Day, we remember and mourn the men and women who have answered the call to duty, selflessly sacrificing to serve our country and protect the rights of all Americans. And whereas we join the rest of our nation in recognizing our soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marines, Coast Guardsmen who have valiantly defended American values throughout our country's history and sacrificed their lives so that we may live free. And whereas we remember all who have given their lives in defense of freedom, and we promise to honor their memory, never taking our freedoms for granted. And whereas we owe all those who sacrifice in our name a tremendous debt, including the families of the fallen, each sacrificing for freedom's cause. And whereas we will never forget the valor of the men and women who defend freedom, justice, and peace every day. Now therefore I, Glenda D. Ledford, Mayor of the City of Wasilla, do hereby proclaim May 29th, 2023 as Memorial Day in Wasilla and ask all to join me in recognizing our fallen heroes and honoring their faithful service to our state and nation. Dated this 22nd day of May, 2023. We are now at Commission and Agencies Report. Deputy Administrator Nygaard, please provide a report on the Planning Commission.
Thank you, Mayor. When the Planning Commission last met, they reviewed some revisions to our mobile food vendor process to streamline it and get rid of some administrative issues that were somewhat of a burden to the public, so we sought input and then made those revisions. Also, they were delivered the report from the Landscape Committee. Those results were presented, and they decided to table and discuss as a committee of the whole at the next Planning Commission, which will be here in June. They will also continue the conversation about short-term rentals and dog kennels. Those are two items that we're getting a lot of participation from the public to understand what type of regulations or what type of input they want to see to make the decisions on those particular items.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, please read the title of the first ordinance.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Public hearing this evening, first ordinance serial number 2316, amending the fiscal year 2023 budget by accepting and appropriating a safety grant from Alaska Public Entity Insurance in the amount of $3,300 for safety equipment for the Parks Maintenance Department.
The public hearing on ordinance serial number 23-16 is open. Anyone who would like to testify, please come forward and begin by stating your first and last name. Comments are limited to 3 minutes per person. Is there anyone that would like to testify on ordinance serial number 2316? Seeing no one, public hearing is closed. Is there a motion to adopt ordinance serial number 2316?
So moved by Councilman Johnson.
Is there a second?
Second that, Councilmember Vila.
It's been moved by Councilmember Johnson and seconded by Councilmember Velock to adopt ordinance serial number 2316. Is there discussion? Hearing none, Madam Clerk, please take a roll call vote on the motion.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Councilmember Graham?
Yes.
Councilmember Johnson?
Yes.
Councilmember Velock?
Yes.
Councilmember Rubio?
Yes.
Motion to adopt ordinance serial number 2316 passes unanimously with Councilmembers Graham, Johnson, Velock, and Rubio in support. Councilmembers Sullivan, Leonard, and Brown are absent.
Madam Clerk, please read the title of the second ordinance scheduled for public hearing this evening.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. This is the first of two public hearings on ordinance serial number 2323, providing for the adoption of the annual budget for fiscal year 2024 and appropriating funds to carry out said budget. The second public hearing will be held on May 24th, 2023.
The public hearing on ordinance serial number 23-23 is open. Anyone who would like to testify, please come forward and begin by stating your first and last name. Comments are limited to 3 minutes per person. Seeing no one, the public hearing on ordinance serial number 23-23 remains open and is continued to May 24th, 2023 special city council meeting. We are now at persons to be heard. Persons to be heard is a time for members of the public to share their views with the council. This is not a question and answer period or a time for dialogue. Speakers may be referred to administration, or issues raised may be taken under advisement by the council or administration. Huh? Oh, my list. Ooh. It's been a long day already.
Get them glasses back.
Mr. Stearns.
Good evening. My name is Tom Stearns. I'm the Senior Ambassador for the Wasilla Area Seniors Incorporated. We just finished our fundraiser, our auction, and the auction was quite a success. We had a goal of $10,000 and we raised $12,400. We had 300 people that participated in the auction, and so they did a great job. If you were part of that, we thank you very much, and all the people that were participated in that. But now we move on. And the Miles for Meals fun run, walk and roll is set for the 24th. I cannot tell you at this point what the route is. I cannot tell you exactly what we're going to be doing, but it's going to be fun. And we also have a between the 1st and the 24th of June, you can do it virtually. Okay, if you want to run 3 miles, you go do that and take a picture of it and send it to us, and we'll consider that good. And you can register for this at WASI at our front desk. And then there'll be a barbecue after the event on the 24th. of June. It's a Saturday, so. And then our Club 50. Our Club 50, if you know anything about our little gym, it's little, okay? Well, it's being overrun by people. There is so much going on there. As I write here, the great place to prepare for the Miles for Meals event. We have a varied assortment of exercise classes, and those are the things that are being filled, weights, treadmills, and bikes. Come and join us for all the fun. And then on this Friday, the 26th of May, at 12:45 in the Knick Manor common area, we are going to have our annual memorial tree dedication ceremony. This is a time where we plant a tree for all the people that have passed away in the last year. And so if you're interested in that, 12:45. And then, good news, we are breaking ground this summer for Aspen House, number 7 or 8. I don't know. I've lost count of the numbers that we're building. And then on June 8th is the AARP-sponsored flower garden at Willow House. And the mayor will be, I'm not sure, cutting the ribbon? You're doing something, I was told.
Yes.
Thank you.
Jackie Goforth. You have 3 minutes. Please begin by stating your first and last name.
I'm sorry, did you want, would you pass those out? Thank you.
My name is Jackie Ivy Goforth. Thank you, Madam Mayor and council members. I'm Jackie Ivy, the published writer. I was very proud of being a writer until recently. I discovered back in February that there is pornography and obscene material in library books that are there for the youth. What you have in front of you is an image from a book called Deal With It. It happens to be in the Wasilla Library. Now, 2 weeks ago, I handed a packet of book complaints that has my reasons why this book does not belong in the library for anyone under 16 years old, along with the Alaska Law 11.61.128 and the U.S. Law of 1470 of Title 18 U.S.C. There is no reason that this material should be given to anybody under 16 years old. Now, I had 42 requests put into the librarian, and I have not heard anything about any one of them. And so I brought one, the one for the book that you have there. Plus, trust me, the text is just as unacceptable for anyone under 16. I started this because of a book called Let's Talk About It. It showed up online with blurred images, and I could not believe my eyes. So I ordered it on a Kindle so I could make sure to verify that I wasn't seeing things, and I wasn't seeing things. It is horrific. This book is so bad that I went down to the Palmer. It was in the Palmer Library. I went down to the Palmer Police Department to turn it in. And I talked to a librarian at that time, and she told me that it's for young adults. And I said, young adults are 14. She said, yes. I said, this is not acceptable for anybody who's 14. Why is it even in the library? There's no X-rated department in the library. And so they told me I had to start filing complaints, which I did. I had a book hearing done last Thursday on Let's Talk About It at the Matsu Borough. And one of the librarian board members said, and I quote, if this book was pushed into a child's hand, or if this book was put on the curriculum so everybody had to read it, or if the pictures from this book were posted on the wall, then that would be grooming. But the fact it's on the shelf doesn't make it grooming. Wrong. It's always grooming. If I push a hamburger into a child's hand, that's not grooming. If I give them all books on kitchen remodeling and put pictures on kitchen remodeling on the walls, that's not grooming. It's only grooming if the material inside is obscene. So I'm handing this again to the clerk. I'll give them one at a time because I have 42. And the lady who's going to follow me is going to read to you. Thank you.
Karen Lewis.
Thank you, Madam Mayor and Assembly members. Very disturbing, this.
Please state your name.
Karen Lewis, and thank you, Madam Mayor and Assembly members. Okay, this information is unbelievable. I went to that meeting and there were 40, 50 people there, maybe more. There was standing room only. They were out in the hallway. It's, you know, little boys showing little boys how to do oral sex, and males with penises and breasts, and I mean just all kinds of things. These are in the libraries. There's actually one aspect of it that I'm surprised that they put in their book because it's illegal. They admitted it's illegal, and it's a picture of a girl taking a selfie of her private areas, and it says yeah, this is illegal, and they go on to tell them how to do it. I mean, why is this in our libraries? It's extremely disturbing, and I hope you do something about it. Really, seriously. We can't have pornography in our library. We cannot feed our children pornography. We're supposed to take care of them. Jackie wanted me to continue to read this. She said, I understand the Wasilla City Public Library adheres to the Library Bill of Rights of the American Library Association to the freedom to read statement prepared by the American Library Association and the American Book Publishers regarding free and equitable access to materials and information. Materials deemed offensive may be reconsidered. If I object to the material in the library's collection, the library director will carefully consider my objections. Removal of materials from the library's collection is at the direction of the library director. So there are a whole lot of books and what it has in it, like Deal With It. What's your objection? This book contains sexual activities, sexual nudity, profanity, abortion commentary, alternate sexualities, controversial religious and social commentary. But it's the sexual perversion that we have to protect our children from. I mean, we have to protect them from a lot of things, but sexual perversion, we really must. Okay, 30 more seconds. I think I'm done.
Karen Crandall.
What's that?
Let's go to the library director.
No, that goes, she wants you all to see this. She wants you all to have this information. Because you should be able to do something about this, hopefully.
Is this all part of the 3 minutes? Let me just get this set up here.
See, we just started this, but you know what? This is going to get big. The community is going to learn about it, and there's going to be a lot more people.
Please state your first and last name for the record.
My first name is Karen and my last name is Crandall. I'm from Big Lake and I've been a resident in Alaska since '75 and I've been a teacher. And I've checked out the books in the libraries and the school libraries for a long time and have noticed they just keep degressing. Not all of the books, but quite a few. There's huge sections geared for 14-year-old and younger students. And young people, I guess you'd call them young adults. So today, I checked all these out. I don't really want to look at them. I don't want to read them. I'm not that sort of a person, but I'm a concerned citizen, which I hope all of you are. I have no idea. Everyone has a different moral standard. But this is one book, and I was able to, it's right there at the Willow Library. The majority of these are from Willow. 3 of them are from Big Lake Library. And what happened is just going to this site called booklooks.org, if you want to check that out at all at any point in time. So against the law of Alaska, you know, being 14, they're not supposed to be exposed to pornography to this level. And so I'm just going to read out of this one book called Anatomy of a Boyfriend. I'm reading it really for the first time. It says, I huddle over him as he rolls it on. And then without giving myself time to think about it, I drop my head and start licking and kissing the length of his penis. Wes sighs as he crosses his arms. It goes down to different parts. I close my eyes and take the head into my mouth. I'm afraid I'm going to bite him accidentally, so I keep my lips tightly pursed over my teeth. I get half of his penis stuck inside before I feel like I'm going to gag. I mean, this is stuff that is pornographic. It's horrible. Here's another one, Court of Wings. It goes, brazenly, I lift my hips in silent demand. But he just circled with a finger, as lazy as he strokes along my wing. He kissed my spine. How shall I make love to you tonight? For a darling, I wreathed, rubbing against the folds of the blankets beneath me, desperate for any sort of friction as he dangled me over the edge. So my clothes vanish, presumably to the laundry downstairs. I groaned deep in my throat at the glorious heat and didn't bother to do anything other than lean my head against the back of the tub. And so this is very graphic. And I don't know if you support this sort of thing happening in the Matsu Valley, but as a teacher, as a parent, as a wife of 51 years, I'm totally against this X-rated book type pornography exposed at all of our libraries. And I think we need to do something about it. Karen and I have gone to the city of Palmer years and years ago where they just looked at us because they had X-rated movies at this movie gallery and no one did anything about it. But fortunately we had some friends that bought the business, shipped all those crummy X-rated, triple X-rated movies out of there and put in a physical therapy business. So we can do better than that, I hope, in our nation. That's all I have to say.
The thing is, this is in,
I'm sorry, but you can't.
okay, it's
You've
in the
already
young.
had your 3 minutes.
Okay, it's in the young.
Is there anyone else in the audience that would like to speak to the council
It's
tonight?
not just in the library. It should be.
Seeing none, we will close persons to be heard and move on to the consent agenda. Madam Clerk, please read the title of items for approval under the consent agenda.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We have the regular meeting minutes, City Council meeting May 8th, 2023. We have one ordinance scheduled for introduction, public hearing dated June 12th, 2023. That's ordinance serial number 2317, adopting Wasilla Municipal Code Section 412080 candidate advocacy statements to provide the opportunity for candidates in a city election to submit a photograph and a statement advocating candidacy in that election and requiring the city clerk to post those photographs and statements on the City of Wasilla website before an election, so long as format and timing requirements are met. We have 3 action memorandums for approval under our consent agenda. The first is AM number 2318, contract award to Matanuska Electric Association in the amount of $62,000 for redundant power service to the Spruce Well House. AM number 2319, contract award to Swickard, Alaska 2 LLC in the amount of $57,994 for the purchase of a 2024 Chevrolet Silverado for the Roads Department. And lastly, AM number 2320, contract award to Bob Services LLC in the amount of $41,328 for the purchase of a flatbed and crane for the Roads Department.
Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda as read?
Mayor, I move we approve the consent agenda as read.
Is there a second?
Rubio seconds.
It's been moved by Councilmember Biglock and seconded by Councilmember Rubio to approve the consent agenda as read. Is there objection to the motion? Hearing none, the motion is approved. There is no items under unfinished business. And Madam Clerk, new business.
Resolution serial number 2320, amending the fiscal year 2023 budget by authorizing the transfer of funds within an accounting fund in the amount of $16,100 for the Wasilla Police Department Garage Division.
Is there a motion?
Madam Mayor, I move resolution serial number 2320.
Is there a second?
Second by Councilman Johnson, sorry.
It's been moved by Councilmember Graham and seconded by Councilmember Johnson. Is there discussion?
Madam Mayor.
Mr. Graham?
Madam Mayor, first let me apologize to the police chief. I usually let department heads know when I'm going to ask them to say a few words at the meeting. I didn't have time today to get with you. But ever since we approved the money for the police garage, which I think was about $1 million to build it, and then we've built into the budget for the mechanic and for tools and things like that, but we haven't heard anything. Could you tell me what's going on in the garage? I mean, what is it that the mechanic is doing? What services is it that are being provided? Are they only being provided for police vehicles? Is the employee in the garage also the fleet manager? There was some talk about that. I'm just trying to get squared away with what's going on there, please.
To Councilmember Graham through the mayor. So the mechanic was hired on when shortly after I was appointed back in June 6th. So the whole process and how we ended up hiring the mechanic is I'm unsure of. However, I do know that his expertise and skill set by far exceeds what the expectation of that position was. With that, the reason why we had the shortfall on it is I think there was a lot of unknowns of what he was able to do and what he can do. His ability to do a lot of things that require more of a professional garage that he's able to do, so it's giving him the tools and the equipment to complete those. Second is that he is my operations lieutenant is the fleet manager. He works in partnership with the mechanic. And I guess what was your third question?
I'd just like to know how things are going over there. You mentioned that you hired somebody, or that somebody was hired that has met considerably more than the basic qualification and is therefore doing, service on vehicles that we had not expected or planned to be done, and therefore you need additional tools and equipment so that he can accomplish that stuff. Did we hire somebody, like a lateral transfer kind of thing, or did we hire somebody where we planned? Is that person hired at the budget level we planned at? And I'm just kind of curious how that's going. I know when you hire an officer, we can go to, the Boise Police Force and say, well, the guy's got 14 years and we'll give him credit for X many years. But I don't know how that would work with the mechanic, because he still falls under that police union contract that I believe was how that discussion initially went. So I'm just kind of curious how that garage is working, and it sounds like he's doing more. Are we asking him to do more, or is he saying, hey, I'm slow, how about I do a brake job today?
So to answer, the mechanic is absolutely phenomenal. I can't speak highly enough for him to be over there. Not only is preventative maintenance getting completed, he has the skill set and the ability to be more complex. That doesn't necessarily take away from his other preventative maintenance jobs. When he sees a lot of issues is that if he's doing a brake job where he pulls a vehicle up on the lift, he can identify other issues that need to be fixed, or have the knowledge to say, hey, this is beyond my ability to go in there, or even coordinate the warranty repair. We had a steering column issue. We were one of the officers ended up hitting a boulder, and it messed up the steering column on the carriage of the vehicle. Obviously, those things are not going to be covered underneath warranty. He was able to replace that for a fraction of the cost, where we just had to pay the parts. But in the meantime, he found a gasket that was like a $4 gasket that needed to be replaced or was leaking. That gasket was covered underneath warranty. But however, with the lead time that Kendall Ford had the car would have been out of service for 3 weeks. So he has the ability to kind of go there and fix that, which gets the vehicle back in service. And this is just kind of capitalizing on his skill set, where I don't have to have these third-party individuals go out and work on it and have these downtime on the cars.
And we're having him work only on police vehicles, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Is there further discussion?
Madam Mayor,
Mr. Johnson?
just a follow-on question. Thank you, Stu, for that. Police Chief, what do you think our utilization of our mechanic is? Are we at 100%? I mean, we're keeping him fully busy. Have we paid him, I mean, is he asked for overtime? Just give me a feel for what his utilization is. That's the first question. Second thing, when we originally started with the mechanic, our goal was to make sure that we had a better utilization of our police cars because we weren't having to shuttle our police cars to and from the Ford dealer. And that was, of course, taking away from patrol time. Do you feel that that objective has been met? Two-part question. Thank you.
He is busy. He does a great job in maintaining the vehicles. I believe that we have, I don't have the exact number, but with the spare cars that we have, that he keeps those tending. So at 3 o'clock in the morning, if an officer has like a headlight out or brake light out, that there's a spare car that's ready for him to jump in there, or if there's preventive maintenance, or if there's a critical, hits a moose, or the case may be, that car's ready to go. He manages and maintains the readiness for each vehicle. On top of that, there's also accountability, where there's some issues with maybe a way that an officer is driving their vehicle, that we can bring it to our attentions, more of his expertise to recognize those things. And then third is that he's, in your second question, I'm sorry, was that is he the downtime for the patrol officers?
No, have we met our goals when we originally laid out the program for increasing the utilization of our cars and reducing the requirement for our patrol officers to shuttle cars back and forth to the dealership?
Yes, matter of fact, none of the patrol officers do any kind of shuttling anymore. It's all coordinated through my operations lieutenant and the mechanic, which 9 times out of 10, the mechanic, Josh, is the one that's coordinating all that and dropping vehicles up.
Thank you.
Is there further discussion? Hearing none, is there objection to the motion? The motion is passed. We are now at audience comments, a time for members of the public to share their views with the council. This is not a question and answer period or a time for dialogue. Speakers may be referred to administration, or issues raised may be taken under advisement by the council or administration. Is there anyone present who would like to address the city council? Please state your first and last name.
My name is Ian Crafton. Just disclosure, I am a sitting member on our planning commission. I'm here as a citizen, not as a member of the planning commission. I should have brought this up during the public comment for our budget, and I might not be here Wednesday for the second meeting, but I did want to make a comment. I had talked with Eric about this, or just mentioned it to him. If you notice, the state streets are still not cleaned, which, I mean, some people don't care. To me, it bothers me. It's rocks, dust being kicked up, and just a general lack of care, it looks like, for the city. And unfortunately, even though they're state roads, most people don't know whose job it is to maintain all of those roads with street sweeping. So it looks like it's the city's job to do that. And so one of the items in the capital purchasing is a new street sweeper. I believe also some of what we do is contract out some of the street sweeping. I would love to make sure we go through with purchasing that item. I think it'd be a great asset to the city would have, in the sense that they can, well, keep up on our street sweeping, especially our state roads. I know it's going to be difficult trying to negotiate with the state to say, hey, we'll go ahead and take care of the roads. We're even using our own equipment. All we ask is you reimburse our employees for taking that time, and it takes the stress off of them as well, and having to send somebody out here. But the fact that the majority of the state's roads out here haven't been swept up is, I mean, it just doesn't look good. So again, that item in there, purchasing a street sweeper, would be nice. Even if we could get 2, that would be awesome. But finding a way so that we could, again, take care of that and then have the state either reimburse us, pass through grant, something, would be rather great. So thank you.
Is there anyone else that would like to speak to the council at this time? Hearing none, we will move on to council comments. Madam Clerk.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So just a reminder, on Wednesday, day after tomorrow, is our second public hearing on the budget. Once the public hearing is closed and a motion to adopt the ordinance is on the floor, amendments are in order. To date, I have received one amendment from a council member, so if anybody is planning on amendments, we appreciate it if you get them to our office and we can get them typed up and distributed and numbered and all that good stuff. So that's all I have, Madam Mayor.
Mr. Attorney.
No comments, Mayor. Congratulations on a very efficient meeting.
Thank you.
You want to introduce as well? Does everyone
Oh,
know?
I'm sorry. Have the council met? This is one of our city attorneys. Will, would you introduce yourself to the council, please?
Is it not on?
Bottom, yeah.
Very bottom.
On now?
You're good.
William Earnhardt, I work with Holly, practicing about 30 years. I'm up here for labor negotiations. That's my specialty, but in those 30 years, a lot of litigation, and a lot of time as a municipal attorney. Sat in Anchorage and Seward and a few other municipalities from time to time. And again, impressive, efficient, looks great, so.
Okay, she's not here. Councilmember Johnson.
No comment, Mayor.
Councilmember Velock.
Thank you, Mayor. No comments tonight?
Councilmember Graham.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. A couple of questions for staff. First, look at that, he knew it was coming his way, he's turning his microphone on. So a couple of questions for you. You know, we've been without flags in the Honor Garden for quite some time. Are those flags back up now? Are we gonna have flags, prior to Memorial Day? And shouldn't we always be flying the American flag there, even if we don't have the state flags?
I will check into the availability of flags. I know that our purchase order was delayed. I'll check with the department head for parks and figure out where those are so that we're ready.
Okay, I'm particularly concerned about the American flag to make sure that we have one up in the Honor Garden for Memorial Day. I know I was able to get a flag from the VFW for the police department when their flag got destroyed during the wind. If you would like me to look into that to see if they have a flag of the appropriate size, American flag, I'd be happy to do that. Please contact me. But Honor Garden is important. It makes an important statement. It's a very nice addition to our city. And the second thing, following up on Mr. Crafton's comment, when we're doing street sweeping or pothole filling, that sort of stuff, do we coordinate with the borough and with DOT and say, hey, we're going to be out doing this, or your guys going to do this? City of Wasilla is going to be doing this on Thursday and Friday. 2 weeks from now, any chance your guys could come our way on the same time? Or do we coordinate with them, or do we just do what we need to do and then hope they do what they need to do?
Through the mayor, we are probably the most proactive on our potholes. So coordination between the state and the borough has been limited because of their lack of staffing. So I have talked with the state maintenance crew, but I will check with my road superintendent to see exactly how closely they coordinate. But it seems like when we notify them of potholes that need to be filled, we get very little reaction. I believe there were some large potholes on Main Street, and we were notifying them every day, and it took direct contact with WPD for the state to show up. So we try to coordinate, but our messages don't seem to have the same impetus behind them as when the police call and say, come fix your pothole, or we're going to put a cone in it.
Yeah, that would be nice for the council to know when we're having those coordination issues, because we all deal with different government officials as well, and can put that on there. I know Mr. Anderson, the DOT commissioner, hates me because I'm always bugging him about guardrails and streetlights. Does no good to fix streetlights in the summer and then have them down all winter, because they get knocked down October the 1st and you don't do anything with it. Same with guardrails. They're there for a reason, and if we don't fix them, but we can help you reminded them that there's a job to do, so thank you.
We'd be happy to reach out, let you know we need more support.
Thanks, appreciate that. Second one would be for planning, which obviously is going to fall under you. When can we expect to see the revised landscape ordinance here?
That's a good question. They're going to discuss it, it's 100 pages. They're going to discuss it, committee of the whole, next meeting. There are some commissioners that are ready to just put it forward and some that are not. So I would say late June, probably, not before then.
Okay, so if the landscape ordinance changes, which it's going to, and people have already submitted plans under the current landscape ordinance, are they going to be held to the old plan, or will they be allowed to revise without penalty to the new plan? From what I've seen, which is requires less landscaping and less square footage.
They will fall under the current plan that we have, not the new one, until that's approved.
But once it's approved, if there's a project, it's not going to get completed until August, and it gets approved in July, they wouldn't be held to
Correct.
the landscaping that they
Correct.
said they were going to do. Okay.
Correct.
Thank you, I appreciate that. And last thing is, at some point during the June meetings, Madam Mayor, I'd like to get a report from Zane, our library director, about what they were talking about today, about what authority he has and what checks and balances he feels he's comfortable with doing, so that we know what's going on. But sometime in June, if we could get a report, that'd be great.
Zane got the other packet, and he's well aware of what's going on.
I'm sure he is.
And he and the kids librarian are going through all of the kid books and whatever to make sure they're appropriate.
And that's great. I would like to hear from the library director, much as we heard from the public today about
Sure.
group insurance, so that we know, if there's nothing we can do, as a council, we know there's nothing we can do, but if there's something we can do, or if there's something that somehow we can influence policy, it'd be nice to hear from the library director.
Sure.
And I'd like to hear from that sometime in June. And lastly, I'd like to welcome Jersey Mike's Submarine Sandwich Shop to Wasilla. They're going to be open in a couple of days. They did a soft opening today, and it's going to be a great addition to the city, because we don't have enough fast food. We need more. I think next fast food joint we open is going to make us the fast food capital of this Northwest, I think. But anyway, it's great to see new businesses come in. It's great to see the city work with those new businesses so that they feel comfortable. I've talked to them, and they said, yeah, it's they didn't agree with everything the city had to say, but the city was very helpful in making sure that they understood what was going on and helped them get their doors open, and got in record time for that type of franchise. So welcome to Wasilla, Jersey Mike's, and thanks, folks, for being here. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Councilmember Rubio.
No comment.
Okay.
Take me with that. Only one thing.
We went down and welcomed Jersey Mike's. I have eaten with Jersey Mike's for a long, long time, and I prefer them to whatever we've got. But what I really like about it is they're collecting sales tax. And we live on sales tax. So, any more of these fast food wants to come, bring it on. We are open for business. And with that, with no further business at hand, I am adjourning the meeting unless objection is raised. We are adjourned at 6:44.
Las Vegas.
It's just one minute. My landscape is accurate.